So today we will start with the programmable logic devices. There are a lot of programmable logic design devices which you can use for your digital logic design. We will start with very simple design, and then we will very simple devices, and then we will move on to more and more complex devices. So what is the advantage of programmable logic device? So in programmable logic device, you have some chips, and in this chip, a lot of gates are available. A lot of gates are available. They are prefabricated. They are prefabricated. These devices have a lot of gates that are prefabricated. And then you can program these devices according to your requirement. According to your requirement. Now let's assume if you're using any high-level description language, for instance, Verilog HDL. So if you give your code to this design, so there is also a device programmer. There is also a device programmer that will program or synthesize your design on that hardware. So we will start with very simple FPGA. What is FPGA? FPGA are the type of devices that are used in the field. Okay. So this first FPGA, can you see that these FPGAs were used in 1990s? Okay, so these are very simple devices, and they were used much before. Okay, so they were used in 1990, and they are not used today. But what's the purpose now? Because the purpose here is to see the evolution of these devices, how these devices evolved with time. How these devices evolve with time. Okay, so what is the description of a field programming gate array? They can be programmed or configured by the user in the field as opposed in the factory. So there are other type of devices are the ASIC devices, application specific integrated circuits. When you have design, so when you will give your design to the foundry, and they will fabricate your device based on the requirement. They will fabricate each and individual transistor. Okay, but in field programmable device, there is no fabrication. The fabrication is already done. But you need to program that device. Okay, so there are two types of programmable. One is one-time programmable, and another is reconfigurable. In a one-time programmable device, let's assume you have a design. Once you program that device, it cannot be changed. But in reconfigurable device, you can change your design according to new requirements. Okay, so now let's assume you have programmed one hardware, you have programmed or synthesized one hardware on a device. Okay, and if you want to change your hardware, you have to reprogram it. So in reconfigurable, you can change your design by reprogramming it. Okay, just like in, let's assume you have used any microcontroller. Which microcontroller did you use? Arduino. So you can burn your program. Okay, so you have one assembly language program. There is a compiler, and that compiler will translate that program into an assembly and a binary instruction, and that will be loaded into your program, and that will be stored in the memory of the microcontroller. Okay, maybe that memory is read-only memory. Okay, so this is the way how you program. So now if you want to program these FPGA or field programmable arrays, do you need a synthesizer or compiler? Synthesizer. So you need a synthesizer. So you have a high-level description, like for instance Verilog HDL, and then you will give your design to that programmer, so it will program that device according to the requirement. So the performance is lower than non-configurable ASIC because we will study, and this design time is fast because you don't need to fabricate the device because the device is already fabricated, so you don't need to program, and no manufacturing is required. So you just need a cable, you need a software tool. You need a cable and you need a software tool, and you need some high-level design entry method. The design entry can be Verilog, or design entry can be VHDL, or design entry can be any method. Not C. Yeah, in some cases C, but it's because it's high-level language. So in some cases, for high level synthesis. So you need some hardware programmer. So this is a very, very simple FPGA. If you look at this FPGA, and this is one block, this is only one block of that FPGA. There are so many these blocks. So now this is a gate. This is a gate. So if you look at this gate, how many inputs are there? 4. How many outputs are there? Output is 1. So the inputs are A0, A1, A2 and A3. The input is A0, A1, A2 and A3. Output is G1. So these are the inputs. Can you see? These are the inputs. And this one, this G1 is your output. Okay. Now, so if you look at the output, so now we are only looking at the output. Okay. What is the input to this output G1? So the input to this gate, which gate is used? Exclusive? Exclusive OR. It is an exclusive OR gate, but it has an enable signal, like CS bar. Okay. Now, if you look at this thing, now there are two possibilities. If S9 is closed, what is this S9? And these are different. These are different switches available. These are different switches available. Either you can retain these switches or you can blow up these switches. And the output is determined by the status of the switches. So there are two possibilities. So now there are some switches. How many switches are there? 9 switches. S1, can you see here? So now let's assume if this is switches S1, S2, S3, S4 up to S8. So how many switches are at this side? 8 switches. 1 switch is under the S9. Okay. Now if S9 is closed, so this G1 is equal to F1. If S9 is equal to open, what will be the value of G1? It will be the invert. It will be the invert of F1. Okay. So now it's also depend on whether, okay, if it is F1, so this is non-inverted output or inverted output? Non-inverted output. So if in this case, if S9 is closed, so the output is non-inverted or inverted? Non-inverted. And in the scenario of this, when S1 is 1, the output is inverted. Okay, so if we say, so this inverted output, it is active low or active high? No, low, because the output is inverted. Bar. When we say bar, it means output is inverted. And for the first one, active high. Okay, now what is about this CS bar? CS bar is the enabled signal. CS bar is the enabled signal. So this CS bar is active low or active high? Active low. So it means that if CS bar is equal to 0, output will be either F1 or F1 bar, depending on, if CS is equal to 0, depending on the status of which switch? S9. Depending on the status of switch S9. But if CS bar is 1, no, it is high impedance, in a high impedance range. Like this is something equal to a chip select signal. CS stands for chips. Just this is like CS stands for chip select. So it will be in a high impedance state. But what does high impedance state mean? Neither a logical 0 nor a logical 1. So okay, now we are studying on the output side. Now if you look at the input side, now the output G1, the output G1, can we write it like this? The output G1, so the output G1 is a function of what?
F1 and
okay, the output G1 is a function of A0, A1, A2, A3, okay, and CS. But this output is also a function of the status of all switches. It's not only, okay, there are 4 inputs, 5 inputs, 5 inputs. A0, A1, A2 and A3 and also CS. But it is also a function of all switches, the status of all switches. The switches either can be opened, not 0, opened or closed. G.
वो जो आगे हमने गेट लगाया उसका तो चिप सेलेक्ट है सर, इसका भी है
किसका?
ये वही वाला चिप जो
Chip select is at the output. Chip select is the output. Either whether you want to enable its output or you want to disable its output. So if you have a tri-state buffer, so in a tri-state buffer can have multiple drivers, and we studied this before. If you want to have a bus type of structure and you want to disable the input or disable the output or enable the output, is up to you. Okay. Now let's assume a scenario. Let's assume a scenario. S1, S3, S6 and S7 and S9 are closed. So S1 is closed. S1 is closed. So when S1 is closed, so A0, you will get A0.
yes sir.
Okay. Then if S3 is closed, A1. Okay. If S6 is closed, A2 bar, you will get A2 bar. And then S7 is closed, A3. Okay, you will get A3. Okay, now if you look at the output of G1, which gate is this? NAND gate. It is not, it is NAND gate. So if it is NAND gate, so this will be 1 bar because of the NAND gate. 1 bar because of the NAND gate. And S9 is closed. So S9 is closed. So it will be inverted. So S9 should be open now.
नीचे open है sir, ऊपर close ही हुआ.
Because it's okay. If S9 is closed, G1 is F1. So if it is closed, so actually this bar will not be here. So S9, we can write it like this. S9 is
open.
S9 is open. Okay, so when it's open, so the output will be, if you simplify this logic, because there will be double bar and double bar will be cancelled. So what will be the output? A0, A1, A2 bar and A3. Similarly, if you look at the status of these switches, S1, S3 and S3, and if you compare this, so the output will be A0 bar plus A1 bar plus, this plus does not represent an AND gate. It will be equal to like this, A0 bar, or because maybe with the plus, it will confuse you with the adder. It's not an adder. It is actually an OR gate. So the output will be A1 bar or A2 or A3 bar. Which because if S1 is closed, S1 is closed, so you will get A0. S3 is closed, you will get A1. S6 is closed and S9 is open. Okay, so you will have bar. Okay, now we have another type of FPGA. Can you see on this? This is called as programmable OR array. It is a programmable OR array. So if you look at here, how many inputs are there? Two inputs. Two inputs. Because one is A, then A bar, B and B bar. So actually, if you look at here, and for this A and A bar, for A bar there will be an inverter, and this inverter will always be fabricated. How many outputs are there? Three outputs. One output is X1, second output is S2, third output is S3. Okay, if you look at here, we have two connections. One is the horizontal connection, another is vertical connection. If you see here, can you see here? This is a horizontal connection in the red. And what about the vertical connection? The vertical connection, we can make it in another thing. So this is vertical connection is in blue. And actually there is no connection between the horizontal line and the vertical lines. So we have vertical lines and horizontal lines. Okay, and this horizontal and vertical lines are not connected with each other. They're actually not connected with each other. Okay, so there is a switch between the horizontal line and the vertical line. So let's assume if we say this is column C1, if we say this is column C1, column C2, C3 and C4. So if you look at here from here, so what is this is row 1, row 2, row 3 and row 4. So if you look at here, so there is a switch. This, can you see this switch? This switch.
Yes, sir.
So this is a switch between column 1 and row 1. So when this switch is retained, so this column and row will be connected. If this switch is blown out, they will not be connected. So there are two possibilities. Either the switch will be retained or the switch will be blown up. Okay. So now if we say now this device is unprogrammed. This device is unprogrammed. If we want to program this device, so now what we did, we retained this switch. So these are the switches that are retained. This switch is retained. This switch is retained. And all of the remaining switches are blown out. So this device is programmed or unprogrammed? This is programmed. This device is now programmed. And if you look at here, so what function will be implemented here? X1, A or B? A or B. Similarly, if you look at here, A bar, so now this is A bar, or not, it is not plus, it is actually OR gate. OR gate, okay? And similarly, for the third function, A bar or B bar. So this way, you can program your device. Okay, so this structure is called as programmable OR array. This is unprogrammed OR array, and this one is programmable. Okay, now we further move with more, like now we will move to more complicated. Okay, now if you look at here, so this is an unprogrammable, programmable OR array. It is the same structure. It is the same structure, but to make it more simplified, to make it more visible, so it means that now we have A and B. Now we have if you look at here, what is this A? This is actually your column 1, if you remember. This one is your column 2, and now it is your column 3, and this one is your column 4. And actually there are 4 rows. If you remember, there are how many rows? 4 rows, like these are the rows. Okay. So actually we have not shown all of the switches. We have not shown all of the switches. So if it is bubble circle, it means it is unprogrammed. If this is circle, it means it is unprogrammed. And if you want to program it, so we can have a cross. So it means that now we have retained the switch and the other switches are blown. So these switches, now if you look at here, this is switch, this switch, this switch, and this switch, and this switch, and these switch are retained. And which switches are blown? These are blown. This blue. No, yes, this is 8. Yes, I know that it's shown that this is just for simplicity. Now let's assume if you have 36 inputs, if you want to draw these 36 lines, will it be visible? It will not be visible. Just for the sake of simplicity, for the sake of visibility, so now this is a. So all of these blue, these are blown or retained? Blown. And if you look at the function, which function will be implemented? The same. A is retained and B is retained, so this is A plus B and so on. Now we move to another structure. This is called as PROM, programmable read-only memory. So now we have two types of arrays. We have a fixed AND array and programmable OR array. A fixed AND array and programmable OR array. If you look at the block diagram of this PROM, what are the inputs? AB. What are the outputs? D0, D1 and D2. So this is your D0. This is your D1. And this is your D2. And if you look at here, these connections are fixed. It's not like if you look at here, this connection is fixed. This one is fixed. There are no fuses. These are fixed. So these connections are fixed. So all on these. So these connections are fixed. And what about these connections? About these connections. So these connections are programmable. And if you look at these, so there are four terms. They are called min terms or max terms. Min term, sum of product of sum, if you remember. Okay, so these are 4 terms. One, if you look at here, so A bar, B bar. Okay, so if you look at here, A bar, B bar, A 0 0 0 1, A bar B 1 0, A B bar and 1 1, A B. 4 possible combinations are there, and these are fixed. Now you have to program it here: D0, D1, D2, and D3. Okay, D0 and D3, and based on the status of the switches here, you can implement different functions. So now this is a basic structure of a PROM. It has a fixed AND array and a programmable OR array. Now we have another structure, PAL. So it has programmable AND array and a fixed OR array. So this OR array is fixed. So now let's assume this is the intermediate signal x1, x2, and x3. So what will be your output? x1 or x2 or x3. And actually this on the left hand side, this is a programmable AND array. Okay, this is a program device or unprogrammed device? Program. Why it is program? Because we have cross. And if it is unprogrammed, so it means it will be circle here, circle here, circle here, and circle here. So because it is programmed, so what is the value of x1? A, B. So this is your x1. Okay, and similarly, if you look at the second function x2, can you see x2? A bar, B bar. So this is your x2. And the third term, A and B. So it will be AB. Okay. So this is your x3. So in this way, we can. So in all of these structure, the fundamental principle is same. The structure may be different, but the fundamental principle is same. If we say a fixed AND array, so it means there will be no switches. The connections are fixed. And if you have programmable, it means there will be some switches. Some switches will be retained and some switches will be blown. Okay, now we proceed further. If you look at here, can you see this? Can you see the circles? So when the circles are there, it is unprogrammed. When the circles are there, it is unprogrammed. And in this case, there are no circles. These are fixed. So it means that what is the value of D2? These are fixed. What is the value of D2? P0 or P1. So D2 is actually, if you look at D2 is equal to P0 or P1. What is the value of D1? What is the value of D1? P2 or P3. But if you look at here, so now let's assume if we have this term, and now I have tick mark. Here. It means that this switch is retained and this switch is retained. So what will be the value of this term P2? A bar and B. Now if you look at the second one, P3, so it is A, B bar. So now what will be the value of D1 then? A bar B. So D2 will become A bar B or AB bar. Okay, now we move to another device, because now we are moving from simple devices to more complex devices. Okay, so in a programmable logic array, first we have programmable read-only unit, PROM, fixed AND array, programmable array. Then we have PL, programmable array logic, fixed OR array, programmable AND array. Now we have programmable logic array. Both are programmable. Okay. So we have a programmable AND array and also a programmable OR array. So now this is the structure of a PLA. Now we have A, B, and C, and now we have P0, P1. So you can all. So actually, if you look at here, so now these are some circles. When circles are there, what does it imply? Unprogrammed. Okay, these are unprogrammed. Now I have some tick mark. Can you see the tick marks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we have some tick marks. So in tick marks, it means we have retained these switches and all the other switches are blown out. So if you look at here, so now if we have this function, now let's assume now we are only interested in this function y1. Let's assume this is y1. So which term we have used? Can you see here? So now we have used this one, this one, and this one. So y1 is equal to P0 or P1 or P2, P0 or P1 or P2. So what is the value of P0 in this particular example? A B bar C. So P0 is A B bar C, or then A bar B C, A bar B C, and so on. You can have an expression for P2. Similarly, you can derive the expression for another Y1, then Y2 and Y3. So now in programmable logic array, we have a programmable AND array and a programmable OR array. Okay. Now we have another structure. PAL. What does PAL stand for? Programmable AND array and fixed OR array. If you look at here, can you see this? F1, F2 and F3 and so forth, so on. We can have multiple these things. So if you look at here, so the AND arrays are fixed or variable? AND array is programmable. So now this is your AND array. Yes, so this is your AND array. So if you look at here, this is your AND array, which is programmable. And now this OR array is fixed. So now let's assume, if you look at here, this is the output of this AND gate is Y1 and Y2. So what will be F1? Y1 or Y2. And then now what is Y1? Y1 is a function of A, B, C and D. Okay, so Y1, if you look at here, so now in this case, Y1 is a function of what? A, B, C and D. Now, if we say, so it is, now if you look at here, so which expression we want to evaluate? Product or sum of product? Sum of product. So it is a SOP expression. So okay, so this is a min term or max term? Min term. So actually this Y1 will be a min term. Because it is a product of 4. So it can have 16 possible combination. What will be the first possible combination? 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1. If it is 0 0 0 0, so what will be the min term? A bar, B bar, C bar, D bar. If it is 0 0 1 0, A bar, B bar, C, D bar. So actually this Y1. Okay, now if you look at this structure, now this simple structure, if you look at this simple structure, so this F1, in F1, can we implement an SOP expression with 3 mixed min terms? I'm asking a question. Can we implement a function with 3 min terms with F1? How many min terms are there? For F1, 2 min terms. There are 2 min terms. One is Y1, another is Y2. Now, if we want to implement an expression, that has 3 min terms, what we will do? No, but available is there. If you look at here, so now we can, if you look at this F1 can only implement 2 min terms, Y1 and Y2. So what we now in this case, so we can say that this Y1 can implement an SOP expression, sum of product expression of 2 min terms. But if we want to implement a SOP expression of more than 2 min terms, we can have a feedback. Can you see the feedback? So now here we have a feedback. So actually it solves the problem. Now we have a feedback. So what is being feedback? F1 is feedback. If you look at here, this one is F1. So F1 is feedback here. And now F2 is feedback. No, F3 नहीं, F3. F3 is actually F3 यहाँ पे जो होगा, F1 and F2 are here now. F1 and F2. Now let's assume that if you want to implement a wider function, then you can use the feedback term. But now if you have a feedback term, you will have more delay. You have more delays. So actually, if you want to implement a wider function, so you can use this PAL cell with feedback. Now I will give this is an example. I will give an example here. So now let's assume you want to implement this function f. You want to implement a function a, b, c, or a bar, b bar, a bar, b bar, c bar, or c, d. How many minterms are there? Three minterms. There are 3 minterms. So actually, if you look at here, now we have a fixed OR array. We have a fixed OR array. When we have a fixed OR array, we can only implement 2 minterms. So can I write it like this? F is equal to F1. Now with what? With this F1, we can implement this function. We can implement this function, and this F1 is then feedback. This F1 is being feedback here, and now we can use here. F1 is feedback, and now we retain this switch. So actually, and now how we can implement this? So F is equal to, now in finally your F will be equal to F1 or CD. So in this case, in this F3, F1 will come up here and CD will come from the above logic. And then in CD, so if you want to retain these switches, so actually which switches will be retained? C and D. No, F1 will not be, yes, it can be feedback. Why you would like to do this? Now you have to do. So actually, if you look at here, now there is a trade-off. If you have more switches, what's the advantage? More programmability, more functionality. You can implement any kind of function, more functionality. But what's the cost? The hardware will increase. But if you have less number of switches, if you have less number of switches in any kind of a structure, so the programmability will be low. The programmability will be reduced, and actually you may have like more you have to implement complex function. So there are different type of devices. So there is a trade-off. Between programmability and functionality, implementing a function. So more switches, more programmability, and you can have more delay. Okay? Ji. Yes, when minterms are more, then you can use the feedback. Yes. No, if no minterms are required, like let's say if 2 minterms are required, then so you will not use the feedback. So feedback is used in the scenario when required. Okay, now what I have shown, I have shown a very simple PL with feedback. Actually, if you look at the actual PL, it does not contain only 4 inputs. It contains up to 36 inputs. And in this term, I use a minterm of 2. And there is not only a minterm of 2. Maybe there is a minterm of 5. Maybe there is a minterm of 8. So it depends on the. Now, actually, what I want to highlight it here. So actually, it's a very simple PAL. But if you look at the actual devices that are available, they have more and more minterms and more inputs, not only a function of 4 inputs. So if you look at the actual devices, there are more and more, and then we will see later on this. But actually, to give you the concept, of PL, that how PL works, so we have to take a very small example, small illustrating example. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we move to another type of architecture. So we studied PL, PLA, PROM. What's in the PROM? Fixed and array. Programmable array. PL. Programmable and array. Fixed or array. PL. Then PLA. Programmable and array and programmable or array. Then we have PAL with feedback. PL with feedback. Now when we have a fixed and array. Okay, now if you compare PROM, okay, so it will implement a SOP expression or POS expression. SOP expression.
Yes, sir.
It will implement a SOP, sum of product expression. Okay, if you look at the PAL, it will also implement sum of product expression. And since we have a fixed or array, so it can implement a SOP expression with the number of minterms that depends on the number of inputs to this OR gate. Depends on the number of inputs to the OR gate. If the inputs to the, now let's assume we have a programmable AND array. We have a programmable AND array and a fixed OR array. And with this fixed OR array, there are 8 inputs. Then how many minterms will be implemented? 8 inputs, 8 minterms. Now just see here. Now if you look at here, there is an OR gate. There is an OR gate. With this OR gate, how many inputs are there? 2. When there are 2 inputs, so it can implement a SOP expression of 2 minterms. I'm just telling about why, like F1. In F1, so let's assume this F1 has some OR gate, and the number of inputs to this OR gate are 6. Then it can implement to 6 minterm. Now, if you want to implement a function, with 10 minterms, so how many feedback we need? 1 feedback. When you have 1 feedback, it will implement 6 minterms, and then 4 minterms you can. Okay, now in this case, F1 will be feedback, and the other minterm will be provided from the blue. You got my point or not?
Yes, sir.
Now let's assume if an OR gate can implement 5 minterms, and we want to implement 12 or 13 minterms, what we have to do? We will feedback. So there will be how many feedbacks? 2 feedbacks. One from F1, one from F2.
Yes, sir.
So F1 will implement 5 minterms, F2 will implement 5 minterms. These will be feedback, and then the remaining will be provided from the top, from the programmable, from the AND array. So actually, these in this way, you can program your devices. You can program your devices according to the requirement of this PAL. So if you look at the PAL, any kind of PL, so this PAL can implement any SOP expression. Can implement a SOP expression with the number of minterms that is equal to the number of inputs to the OR gate. And if you want to implement a wider function, a wider SOP expression with more and more minterms, so we can use them in feedback. And when they will be in feedback, to the log, we can implement wider function. So in the next class, we will study a more complex form of this PAL. But now, what is the problem? What is the problem of all these devices that we studied? We studied PROM, we studied PL, we studied PLA. So all of these devices are using to implement a combination function or sequential function?
Combination.
Combination function. Why not sequential function? Flip-flops are not there. Okay, so now let's assume if we want to implement any sequential function, and what is the basic building block of a sequential circuit? In the basic building blocks of a sequential circuit, we have some combination logic gates and sequential circuit and some flip-flops. So since flip-flops are not there, so it means it can only implement combinational function. Now, if you also want to implement sequential circuits, like what's the example that we did in, so the example was a vending machine example. So if we want to implement that function, can we implement this with PAL? No. Can we implement this with PROM? No. Can we implement this with PLA? No. So actually, in the next lecture, we will study PAL with the functionality to either implement a combination function or a sequential function. So actually, in that case, there will be some flip-flops and there will be some multiplexers. And based on this multiplexer, it will choose whether we want to implement a combination function or a sequential function. Any question?
No, sir.